Hey, let's take a trip around the curve. The popular entertainment news program Entertainment Tonight went through a slew of layoffs over the weekend. We hear those layoffs include the head of graphics, post supervisor, head of photography, some producers, and a couple of hosts. SAG and WGA are still on strike, and some heavyweights are showing up and showing out. Snoop Dogg officially cancels his Doggy Style concerts at the Hollywood Bowl in solidarity with striking actors and writers. WGA says studios are locked in mutual suicide pact as their negotiating strategy has resulted in spectacular failure. Actors Riz Ahmed, Stellan Skarsgård, and director Molly Gordon are skipping Locarno due to the SAG-AFTRA strike. Will Smith calls the strike a pivotal moment for actors. And Oscar winner Viola Davis steps back from G20 despite the picture's SAG-AFTRA waiver. She says it's not appropriate for this production to move forward during the strike, quote unquote. Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman produced Civil War spy series The Grey House lands a SAG-AFTRA interim agreement. Speaking of waivers, some film granted waivers have been met with criticism. Sarah Silverman slams movie stars making movies under indie waivers. She says it's scabbing, but then walked back some of her criticism after an online meeting this weekend with President Fran Drescher and negotiator Duncan Crabtree Ireland. SAG-AFTRA launches casting-specific interim agreements with new Guy Ritchie movie among those getting waivers. Dave Coulier is pausing Full House Rewind in solidarity. Bella Thorne, Jack Kilmer are set to topline the Tower fantasy drama, which is also filming under a SAG-AFTRA interim agreement, Adam Sigel directing. Other titles that have been pushed back: Sony delays Beyond the Spider-Verse and Kraven the Hunter due to the actors' strike, and Sony sets Bad Boys 4 and Venom 3 for a summer 2024 release. Publicists asked for SAG-AFTRA to loosen the stronghold on promotion rules. PR firms have now been forced to pivot during the strike. They are shifting to non-SAG-AFTRA clients and projects, and some will be forced to find partners or merge with others to stay afloat. Osaka buys Magic of Disney's Animal Kingdom maker Arrow International Media, and the 75th Primetime Emmys has been postponed as a double Hollywood strike continues. The ceremony was scheduled to take place September 18th on Fox. No new date has been set. Empty red carpet London premiere of Red, White, and Royal Blue. During the strike, stars are absent and the writer-director poses with his back to the camera. Emerald Fennell's Saltburn Eyes, a Thanksgiving weekend release. Three-time Tony winner LaChanze and Oscar-nominated Taraji P. Henson and Madison Wells joined the Broadway producing team of Jaja's African Hair Braiding. Today on The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata, we're going to talk to Randall Park about his directorial debut in Shortcomings. We're talking about their Turtle movie, and we're doing a Curvy Classic throwback to Fruitvale Station and What's Love Got to Do with It. Coming up on The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata right now.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love, peace, and hair grease.
Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Yeah, you know the one that shoots straight from the hip.
This is Carla Renata, a.k.a. The Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know the one that shoots straight from the hip.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Happy Sunday, and welcome back to The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. I am your host, Carla Renata, and what we normally do here is we do reviews and we talk to people above and below the line in the film industry. That has shifted and ebbed and flowed over the last couple of weeks because of the SAG-AFTRA strike. But I'm going to do my best to bring you some older stuff that you may not have seen and continue to do those curvy classics. I do have some interviews for you today. It is with the cast of Shortcomings. I have Randall Park. It is his directorial debut, and some of the cast members. And disclaimer at the top of this podcast that these interviews were done prior to the SAG strike. Okay, so now that I've gotten that out the way, I usually say hello to people that have joined me in the chat room and tell you what I did the week before. So let me say hello to my tried and true Brandon. He says art school's going well, that he's seeing the Turtle movie this Tuesday, hearing not just good things, but really good things. Yes, ditto. And he also tells me that there's a sequel already in the works with director Jeff Rowe returning and a second animated series. You know, I can always count on Brandon to pick up the slack for me. And thank you, Orlando. Nice short. If you ever want to use original songs on flute, let me know. I will do that. I will let you know. Thank you, Orlando. All right, so let me get into what I did last week. Um, it's been a minute since I've done this, but I usually go over to Fox 11 LA and talk about movies. I haven't been there in since before the pandemic, but I came into the studio because I can do broadcast news items, and we talked about the Barbenheimer epidemic. And there I am pictured with Marla Tellez and Alex Michelson, who are the anchors for the 6 p.m. news at Fox 11 LA. Hey guys, I love them. They're so sweet. Then I celebrated my good girlfriend Brooke Obie's birthday. That's us pictured outside, looking like we so gangster, but we kind of not. Happy birthday, Brookie. She's gonna come over here and she's gonna talk with me, and we're going to do a podcast. We don't know what we're going to talk about just yet, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. And then I went over to my good girlfriend Kristen Lopez's podcast. It's called Ticklish Business, an old Hollywood podcast, and she sent me this flyer, so it is going to be up. You can listen to it on Apple and Spotify. Please like and subscribe. We will be talking about In the Heat of the Night and discussing it from a racial point of view, an Oscar point of view, and a Sidney Poitier point of view. We'll be talking about all of that. But before I get into the films that I'm going to review this week, I just want to tell you a little bit about some Curvy Classics that I was reminded about. So this year we're seeing the 10-year anniversary of Fruitvale Station. And if y'all don't remember Fruitvale Station, it centers around this young man named Oscar Grant. That is Oscar Grant pictured there. Now, what happened with Oscar Grant is that he was Oscar Grant III, excuse me. He was a 22-year-old young Black man who lived in the Bay Area. He crossed paths with friends, enemies, families, and strangers on his last day in 2008, is what happens. And basically, him and his friends go to hang out, and they are at the BART station, which is the local subway in the Bay Area. And he ends up being murdered. I don't even want to say killed, but he was murdered. He was shot there at Fruitvale Station, which is a real station in the Bay Area. The scene, ironically enough, where he was shot and where it was filmed, that bullet hole, the original bullet hole, is still there where I was going to say Michael J. Fox, Michael B. Jordan was lying in the film. So this is Michael B. Jordan, who plays him in the film. Fruitvale Station was written and directed by Ryan Coogler. It starred Michael B. Jordan as Oscar Grant, and it starred Oscar winner Octavia Spencer. The music was done by Ludwig Göransson, rather. He also did the music for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Tenet, just to name a few. And I actually sat with him at the Critics' Choice Awards this year. This is the station where Oscar Grant was shot, and that is moments before he lost his life. And he's played beautifully, like I said, by Michael B. Jordan. Now, this was all post BLM. This was a precursor to BLM. And if you don't know what BLM is, that's Black Lives Matter. So it was a precursor to all of that. And I just wanted to note a couple of things about that film. After the funding, I'm gonna come back on camera so that you can see me talking. After the funding fell through for this movie, Octavia Spencer, who starred in it, she let go of her salary in order for the film to be made because they didn't have enough money to finish the film, and for Ryan to stay on budget. So she offered to forego her salary in order to keep the film on budget and let the story come out because it's a very important story. And I think I have. Let me see. May have a picture in here of his daughter. Let me see if I have that picture in here. I don't think I do, dagnabbit. I don't. But he had a daughter named Tatiana, and his daughter Tatiana, they took the case to court, and she got $1.5 million back in 2010. They hold a vigil there for him every January 1st, 2010, um, and that award money went to his daughter a year to the day that he was shot. So, it's so interesting that this movie was done in 2010. Here we are in 2023, and nothing's really different. But look how powerful a film is that we're still talking about Oscar Grant and Trayvon Martin and Sandra Bland and all these other young, vibrant Black and brown lives who were snuffed out due to no fault of their own. And I just wanted to put a spotlight on that film. It's 10 years old. If you have not seen it, please make your way online and find Fruitvale Station and try to watch that. Another one that's having a great anniversary is this one. What's Love Got to Do with It, y'all? What's Love Got to Do with It is 30 years old. 30 years old. Can you believe it is 30 years old? It was and it's not to be confused with the 2022 comedy, because there is a comedy by the same name that happened in 2022. This is not that movie. This is a movie based on Tina Turner's book, I, Tina. And Tina Turner, who we love and adore, she lost her life earlier this year, but that's not going to stop us from talking about the queen of rock and roll, honey, because she did the daggone thing. The film got Angela Bassett her very first Oscar nomination. And now she is being honored after that big messy debacle with the Oscars this past year, or not this past year, but this year. She is being honored with a honorary Oscar when they do that either later on this year or 2024. But of course, all of that is contingent upon when or if the strike happens. And yeah, so we love Miss Angela Bassett. She became a star doing this role. But what I want to tell you that you don't know is that Jennifer Lewis, the Black mother of Hollywood, was in contention to play Tina Turner, actually. She actually auditioned to play Tina Turner, and they cast her as Tina's mother. And I mean, Angela, Jennifer is only 1 year older than Angela Bassett, and she was playing her mother, which Jennifer would make fun of that all the time. Other people that were up for that role, y'all are about to gag. They've considered Whitney Houston. They considered Pam Grier. They considered former Miss America Vanessa Williams. They considered Halle Berry. They considered Robin Givens. Baby, they even considered Janet Jackson for the role of Tina Turner. But it was Angela Bassett that took it home and got that Oscar nomination. Now, when it comes to the role of Ike Turner, Lawrence Fishburne, who we now know to be Ike in the movie, he turned the movie down. He turned the movie down numerous times, at least 5 times that I know of. And then when he heard that Angela Bassett was going to play the role of Tina Turner, he changed his mind. Now, these are two people that you never would have guessed. The guy from Ghostbusters, Ernie Hudson, they considered him for the role of Ike Turner, and they also considered Eddie Murphy. Would have been a very different movie, don't y'all think? But then some news hit this week. I'm sorry. I'm just all over the place. Okay, so we've been so bereft over Tina Turner that, and we were just getting to the point when we got over it when this came out. So Ronnie Turner's wife, who's pictured there next to Ronnie, he is Tina Turner and Ike Turner's only biological child. His wife was in the news earlier this week saying that Ronnie left her some sperm to have another child. Part of me is like, well, thank goodness, that's the best gift somebody could leave behind. But on the other hand, I'm like, I don't know. But who am I to judge? If that's going to make her happy and he left it for her, God bless them both. All right. So having said all of that, let's get into these movies, shall we? So let's talk a little bit about Shortcomings. So Shortcomings is this all Asian cast, which I just love, 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 love. And it is directed for the first time by Randall Park. You guys will know Randall Park from Fresh Off the Boat. You know him from a variety of different things, but he is hella funny. And this is his first time directing. And this film, Shortcomings, is based on an Adrian Tamine graphic novel. It centers around this dude, Ben, who's pictured there, Justin Lim, along with Sherry Cola, who's also in Joyride. So Ben is a struggling filmmaker. He's living up in the Bay Area. The Bay Area seems to be a theme today. He lives in Berkeley with his girlfriend Miko, who works for a local Asian American film festival. Miko is played by Sherry Cola. When he's not a managing art house movie theater at his day job, Ben spends his time obsessing over unavailable blonde women, watching Criterion Collection DVDs, and eating in diners. So, having said that, I'm sorry, Sherry Cola is not being played. Sherry Cola does not play Miko. She plays Alice. Allie Mackey plays Miko. My bad. Allie Mackey plays Miko, and Sherry Cola plays Alice. So Alice is a queer grad student with a serial dating habit. She just goes out with people. She basically dates like a dude, which I kind of loved. I'm like, I need to take some tips from Alice. But when Miko decides to move to New York for an internship, Ben is kind of left to his own devices and begins to explore what he thinks he might want. This is the thing, and I'm going to come back on camera for this one. This is the thing about this movie. This movie goes hard into, we meet people at different chapters of their life, right? Sometimes we meet people at a great chapter of their life. Sometimes we meet them at a messy chapter of their life. We don't really know. We just meet people at different chapters of their life, and we have a tendency to judge them by whatever chapter we walked in on, right? So I talked to Allie and Justin and Tavi, who's also in the film. I talked to all of them about that, and this is what they had to say. So take a look and a listen to this interview with Tavi, Justin, and Allie from Shortcomings.
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I dug the film. I really did. I was so into it. So I just want to know from you guys, what do you think your biggest shortcomings are? I think I was going to say that, did you?
Let's get right in it.
Let's get right into it. Come on, Justin.
How much time do we have? What's one of my biggest? So many. I'm incredibly impatient. I think, the world of technology where everything is sort of instantaneous, I've become so impatient and I can't really wait for things. And I feel like the thing I've learned most is that the best things in life take a lot of time and they're worth the wait. So it's something that I'm trying to work on.
All right. I'll let Tavi go next.
Oh gosh. I would love to phone a friend. I'm sure they could tell you lots.
Not phone a friend like we do Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just so hard on myself, which in a way this question doesn't really help me with. But yeah, I'm just such a anxious person.
I think that comes with the territory of being an artist, though, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that can be, or being an actor for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on, Allie, bring up the rear.
Oh man, I think building on what all that was just said, I mean, I'm definitely a workaholic. I want to be busy all the time. And I just want to fill every space and every moment with something. And I think the pandemic kind of taught me, like, it's okay to slow down. You don't have to be doing something every second of every day, and you can just be you, and that's enough. And you don't have to please everyone. And so working on that.
All right. I'll let y'all off the hook for that. So, so in line with the film, Justin, your character seems to be someone that we catch at their absolute worst, right? And it seems that the people around him are holding him accountable for the chapter that they walked in on his life. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So having said that, have either of you been guilty of judging someone or holding them accountable to the chapter that you walked in on? Because we all grow and change, but that person may not have grown and changed during our tenure with them or dealing with them. So I was just curious to know if either one of you have had yourself in that position where once you got away from whoever that person was, and then you saw them later, you're like, "Ooh, I've been holding them accountable for the chapter that I walked in on."
I love how this has become my therapy session.
I know, right? I'm like,
Absolutely, I'm guilty of doing that. Yeah, I think it's very easy to prematurely judge someone when you don't recognize that they might be going through a lot of shit in their own life. And I am very grateful that those people stuck around so that I could sort of see the changes that they go through and recognize my own shortcomings, and sort of be with them for the ride. And I hope that I can be that friend to people who experience changes, because we all experience changes.
Look at you being all deep and introspective. Come on, Tabby.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, there are so many periods of my life where I'm just like, oh, thank God my more recent friend didn't know me then, or if they had, it would have been fine. Vulnerability is good, but I try to extend that to other people too. The phrase "they must be in a lot of pain" is very useful.
That part right there. Come on, Allie. I see the wheels going like this. I can see it on your face.
well, I definitely think the last few years I learned so much about just friendship and what that means. Like, through the pandemic, it all kind of tested these friendships and just what being an unconditional friend means. And I think I've been on both sides of that, where I've really tested people in certain ways and they've, stuck by me. And then on the other side where I've had to kind of be like, the best thing we can do for our friendship is take a break. And then, one of my very good friends, we took a long break in our friendship. And I was like, you are just where you're at. And maybe it's not great it's not going to help you if I'm around. And then we came back to each other, so, and there's many friendships where, we just had to move on. So I think it's all part of life and no one's perfect. That's the thing, right? It's like, we're all going to judge each other and we're all going to be in different highs and lows, but that's just life.
It is. We're all on this journey by ourselves and with other people, and how we choose to come out on the other side of it really is up to us. I was not trying to make this a therapy session for y'all, but when I watched the film, hell, it was a therapy session for me. Okay.
You're amazing.
I'm just keeping it 100. You know what I'm saying?
You have to.
But that is my time, y'all. I thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with me. I really enjoyed every last single one of you in the film, the vibe of the film, and everything that it stands for. It's nice to see people of color not be a monolith, and I was there for all of that. So thank you.
Yes. So good to see you.
I love Allie. I spoke with Allie on she did a Disney movie a little while ago, and I spoke with her. I was part of a roundtable discussion with that, and I talked to her with that. She's a sweetheart, and so are Tabby and Justin. Love them. They're really wonderful. All right, so let's talk to Justin. Let's talk to Randall, because Randall has some things to say, and not for nothing, but I'm a ginormous fan of Randall Park. So it really was my pleasure to talk to him. So take a look and a listen at this interview with Randall Park from Shortcomings.
Good. How are you?
See, played the wrong one because I was so excited. Hey, Randall, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm better now that I see you, brother. I've been a friend of yours for a long time.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Fresh off the boat came on. My mother and I, we watched it every week.
Oh, wow.
I fail. Yes, we did. We were supporting other people of color.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
Absolutely. So I'm interested to know, when was the first time you saw Adrian's graphic novel?
I saw his graphic novel back in 2007. That's when the graphic novel first came out. And at the time, I was just a struggling actor, just trying to get a job. And I wandered into this store called Giant Robot in LA, and saw his book, cracked it open, and ended up reading the whole thing in the store, and buying the book, taking it home, and just kind of being really, really obsessed with this book, and eventually all of his work. Adrian Tomine is just an incredible artist, but the book in particular just stuck with me throughout all these years, and I kept thinking about it, kept thinking this would make a great movie, and just over the years, constantly checking in about it. What's going on with this book? You know, why hasn't anybody made anything? And then somehow, 15 years later, it you know, it happened, and I was the director on it, and it's just funny how life works out.
Well, I'm glad it worked out because you did the daggone thing. I'm just gonna
Oh, thank you.
it was really it was good. It was good.
Oh, thank you so
It was
much.
good. What would you say is your biggest shortcoming?
Oh gosh.
Got
Oh
you, did I?
man, we're going there.
Yeah, boo, we going there.
Um, I would say too preoccupied with what other people think.
Mm,
No.
I think that's an artist thing, though. Don't you think that's like an artist actor thing?
I think so. I think so. But it's something that I try, you know, I actively try to not be concerned about, but it always creeps back in there, you know, like and it's I think back in the day, it used to be a lot more crippling, you know, for me. But now it's, you know, I think I've managed to have it under control. And also as you get older, you know, it's like I just kind of care less about people's opinions of me. But it still creeps in, you know, it still creeps in. I'm a people pleaser, so I want people to feel good and to feel happy in life, and I want to play a part in that whenever possible. So when people, you know, don't like me or don't like something I do, it you know, it has a tendency to affect me more than it should.
I know that's right. And you're absolutely right about how when you get older, you tend to care less because at this point in your life, what do you have to lose, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just you know, in a way it's just wasted energy. You know, I think there was a time when, yeah, people's opinions, you know, some of it could be helpful, you know, and help shape you. But at this point in my life, at least, it's like I'm kind of who I am, you know.
Well, at this point in my life, I am happy that I got to speak with Mr. Randall Park about Shortcomings, honey. This was the jam. I was so happy to see Asian people not put in a monolith of a certain thing
Wow.
Because as a person of color, I know what that feels like. So
Yeah.
I always applaud and get excited when I see that happen for y'all too.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, you know, this movie, all the characters are kind of flawed and complicated, and that's what excited me most because we don't get to see that with characters that look like me. You know, to be able to have such layered, complex characters was something that really excited me about the project. And you know, we got a great cast to pull off these roles, and I just feel very lucky.
Thank you. And you are lucky. Thank you so much, Randall, for giving me time today. I really appreciate you.
Of course. It was so great talking to you, Carla.
Great talking to you too. Bye-bye. I love me some Randall Park. So that is Shortcomings, and it drops on August 4th via Sony Pictures Classics. All right, let's talk about this turtle movie. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, when they said Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I was like, all I could remember was like the animated TV series and stuff, and I wasn't particularly thrilled about going to see it, but it ended up being a lot of fun. It was fast, it was furious, it had this cute little animation style that they used to tell the story. It wasn't live action. It was like this really cool kind of rock star vibe kind of animation. And can we just talk about, I love seeing Jackie Chan as a rat. I love seeing Jackie Chan animated. If I can't have Jackie Chan in a movie kicking and carrying on like he was back in the day, I would take him this way any time of the day. And I also love the soundtrack was fire. The soundtrack alone, I'm gonna go get the soundtrack. The soundtrack was great. But at the core of this film, it's about trying to fit in places where people don't want you to belong. And I think that theme right now is so important given what we're going through in the world right now with, with immigration and with women and just where the world is going into this 2024 election. I think that's a really important lesson for kids to learn early on. But let me take y'all through the history of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And let me just tell you what this one's about. So this one follows the Turtle brothers as they work and earn the love of New York City while facing down an army of mutants. That's the gist of the movie. And I don't need to tell you anything else. But let's just talk about the history of this film because it's got a crazy history. So this particular franchise has spawned decades, at least 20 years or more, in terms of being on television, in terms of being on the big screen. It's gone from comic books to the big screen. They've got these crime fighting anthropomorphic turtles that love one thing more than anything else in the world, pizza, which is really hilarious because I love pizza too, but I can't be eating that. They're named after famous painters from the Italian Renaissance. They live in the sewers, they skateboard, they have a multitude of TV series and films over the years, but baby, trying to keep track of it is a lot. So let me try my best. So in 1987 to 96, they had a TV series. Then they had the 1990 live action version. Then they had a sequel to that called The Secret of Ooze. And then they had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 in 1993. Then they had a Japanese special in 96. Then they returned to the movies. I'm sorry. Then they had Ninja Turtles, The Next Mutation from 97 to 98 on television. And then they had an animated return back to the movies I take that back. So they had an animated return in 97 to the movies, and then they had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 2003 to 2009 on television. Are you with me so far? Good. Then in 2007, they had another movie. Then they had a TV movie in 2009. Then they had another series from 2012 to 2017. Then they had another one, a live action movie in 2014. Then they had another animated thing in 2015 and 2016. They had another movie called Out of the Shadows. They had a lighter version of the animated series called Rise of the Mutant Ninja Turtles from 2018 to 2020. 2019, they had another animated thing called Batman versus Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then 2022, they had Rise of the Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. And now we've got this one, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Now, what I really loved about this film is that, see the little African-American girl in the picture? I love that they had a little African-American character who was kind of like their little hero, and she was kind of helping them out, and she's voiced by Ayo Edebiri, and she plays April. Let me tell you something. April was fierce. April was full figured. She had dreadlocks. She was caramel colored. She was hip. She was fly. She wore glasses. This is the epitome of what it looks like to be different. The epitome, in addition to the turtles looking different, this is the epitome of what it looks like to be different. And, there's some other things that happen that I can't tell you, but that is the gist of it. But I just want to let y'all know about that. I think somebody was talking to me in the chat room. Oh, yes. And then Brandon said he drew some Mutant Mayhem sketches. Well, dag, Brandon, why didn't you send them to me? Send them to me and I'll put them up on the podcast, okay? All right, y'all. So I think that does it for this edition of the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. Real quick, let me just recap what I talked about. We did a review of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We talked about Shortcomings, the Randall Park directed joint with Sherry Cola, Justin H. Lim. And we talked about, what else did we talk about? Oh, I told you that my girl, Kristen Lopez, her podcast, Ticklish Biz, is coming up this week on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can hear us talking about the 1967 film In the Heat of the Night starring Sidney Poitier. We talked about What's Love Got to Do with It. And then we took a trip back to talk about Fruitvale Station. And that is it for this episode of the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. So y'all, If this is your first time joining me, give me a big thumbs up to let me know you here. I don't know you watched it if you don't give me a thumbs up. You gotta give a sister a thumbs up. At least let me know you pop by. And we will continue to ebb and flow and do this thing until the strike is over. And I'm trying to stay within the guidelines of what I've been told, and try not to do posting on social media and all that. But if you have any questions, again, I have these banners and I will show you where you can get some help. So you can, if you are a SAG member and you are watching this, you can go to SAG After Strike at sagafter.org to get information about the strike. It is updated daily because there are questions that come up daily. You can also go to the SAG Foundation, sagafter.foundation, if you need assistance. You can also go to the motionpicturetelevisionfund.com if you need assistance, and entertainmentcommunity.org, which used to be the Actors Fund. Entertainmentcommunity.org, which used to be the Actors Fund. I'll say them one more time. Entertainmentcommunity.org, which used to be the Actors Fund, the motionpicturetelevisionfund.com, the SAG-AFTRA.foundation. Excuse me. And for all questions and inquiries, you can go to SAG-AFTRA Strike at sagafter.org. If you are in the Los Angeles area, New York areas where they are striking physically, you can go to that site and they will tell you where the locations are and what time that they meet. I know a couple of days last week, they decided to postpone some of the strike days because, with the heat and everything, it's been a little difficult. So having said that, thanks so much for popping in, y'all. I know it's bright and sunny and lovely where you are. If you're on the East Coast, it might be getting a little dark right about now, but on the West Coast, it's still lovely and fluffy and sunny, and it's not as hot today as it has been all weekend. So get out, go splash in the pool, talk to your friends, grab a cocktail, and then come back here next Sunday and see me for the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. In the next couple of weeks, I want to tell you what I have going down. I'll be talking to Amy Redford about her film, What Comes Around. And I'm also going to review The Last Voyage of Demeter, Gran Turismo, The Pod Generation, King Cole, Red, White, and Royal Blue, and The Eternal Memory. In some coming weeks, I'm going to talk about Strays, Blue Beetle, The Monkey King. Golda will be doing some more Curvy Classics at the end of August. That takes us through August. And at the end of August, I'll have a live guest. And then I will take Labor Day off because I need a little break. And then we will come back and talk about what's happening with the Toronto International Film Festival. So I hope I made you guys' day a little brighter. I hope I gave you a little information that you didn't already know, and maybe gave you some clarification on some stuff that you did. Okay. So until the next time, love, peace, and hair grease, and deuces, baby.